Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is my summer 2024 quarterly wrap-up video. In these quarterly wrap-up videos, I look back at the last couple of months of the writing goals I set for myself and other parts of my writing life, but in terms of the goals, I have to decide whether or not I met them, or if a certain SEPTA will have to visit me. I may be looking at a camera battery that'll drain down a little faster than I'd like, but I also don't think I have too much to say. You will see that I divide this video into different parts, and the headers coming down will tell you what's coming up. So, without further ado. So what can I say about this quarter in writing news? It feels a little bit lackluster. I recently came out of my monthly beta reading meeting, and it was the second time in a row I actually hadn't submitted anything. And we kind of decided, not even all of us were there, that we might be slowing down and we might, be meeting a little bit less. And we haven't even set up the next meeting yet, so it just feels like, things might be turning a little bit, which is, I guess, understandable. I'm the only one who's still, wrapping up the first project I joined the group with, and everybody else is scrambling with drafts of new novels or short stories or what have you. And also the holidays are coming up, so maybe, once those pass, we'll be able to dedicate more time again. We shall see. And also, after being definitively sure in my last quarterly wrap-up video that my fantasy project would be 46 chapters, I'm now seeing it as 47. Eep. Although I do still, hold, going if by my own outline, that the chapters will get shorter. They have actually been getting a little shorter these past couple, and that things are really going to wrap up. I'm currently drafting, I think, the tail end of chapter 43, and yeah, then from there to 47. And I also, in good news, have gotten a little more back involved in the London Writers' Salon writing hour. The London Writers' Salon has these 4 writing hours per weekday at 8 a.m. in different time zones, including in the Eastern Coast time zone where I am, and that's the one I usually take advantage of. I'm not quite consistent with how much I've been doing it, but it has been happening. And I'm continuing to slowly go through my fantasy novel. I am, as I said, drafting new chapters. I'm also revising old chapters, and that's also going a little more slowly than I hoped. I have been revising and re-revising for my sci-fi affinity group through my local salon. And I actually ended up skipping the last session, the first time all year, because of Jewish holidays and just having my schedule in general. This whole quarter is also with my reading schedule and my work schedule. It's all been a bit hectic and backed up, I feel like, or the work schedule, of course, has been taking a lot of precedent. So yeah, that's where I am, and I'm currently trying to finish revising chapter 6 for them. And one of the things that has recently come up in my revisions and my writing is like another world building snafu that I just sort of realized isn't as complicated as I thought maybe, but I was thinking and rethinking, or maybe thoroughly thinking for the first time, about population numbers in my fantasy novels nation, because there's this national program my protagonist belongs to that all of the teenagers are involved in, and I had to start thinking about housing for all of them as they travel the country together. And I feel like in a way it's come into playing a game of Sims, that I have to like try to think of mapping out how many buildings I need or something. Is that something Sims covers, or maybe I should think of something more realistic, but in any case, I really do think it might just come down to, oh, I'll turn this building into a neighborhood. Boom. So that's, in a way, on the other side of realizing it's a problem, something kind of fun to go through. Speaking of something fun to go through, I'm now going to pivot a little into my favorite blog posts part of this video. Most of this video I dedicate toward my fiction writing goals, but a lot of my writing I do per quarter, per year, whatever, per month, is through my 3 blog posts that I have. So every quarter I choose 3 of my favorite blog posts of the quarter. And I'll start with my reading and writing blog, where I recently wrote a review of the We Were the Lucky Ones Hulu adaptation, because I also recently read the book. And I was more taken with this, I think, than I thought I would be, with both the book and the miniseries. I mean, they're a Holocaust story based on reality. There's a little bit of, plot first, schmaltziness sort of stuff to them, but at the same time, I think it's because it centered a Jewish family and kind of gave a bigger scope of what the Holocaust was for Jews who survived, and especially in the miniseries who didn't. It spoke to me more than a lot of Holocaust fare that is popular that doesn't really center Jewish characters. So it worked well for me, and I loved the Rachel Portman score. Then I have my Hava's Footsteps blog, where I talk about broad Jewish issues and also pop culture issues. And I feel like what I should highlight here is my House of the Dragon Season 2 review, because as that season was happening, including during my last quarterly review video, I was pretty in it. I feel like the end of the season kind of tapered a little bit, or less for me than for other people. I think I enjoyed the season overall more than some other people did, but I had fun going through it and what I thought of various character storyline arcs and all of that. And finally, for my Jewish DC blog, which is a regional blog about events happening, Jewish events in the DC area, I went to a special exhibit at the Capitol Jewish Museum on Jewish delis, which was really fun, and I'm just so excited. The Capitol Jewish Museum is still relatively new and shiny, and it's exciting when new special exhibits come in and I can, take a look and write about them, so check it out. But back to the meat and potatoes of this blog, where I go through the goals I set for myself in the summer and, go forth from there. But to face the piper, I'll start with goal number 1, which was to finish this fantasy draft. Dayenu. Dayenu purports back to Passover, which, had just happened during my last video. But anyway, I did not finish this, as I was talking about in the intro. I am still not done. In a way, it's like I feel less done because I kind of added a chapter, or more like, I divided a chapter that I was working on into 2. But I mean, I am technically, chronologically closer to the end of this book, but I am not completely there yet. And in that vein, I've also not completely met goal number 2, which was to make a plan for completing draft 2. But I guess technically I have, and I will be talking about that in my quarterly goals for this year, which will be more definitive than just make a plan. And then finally, goal number 3 was to make a bingo for my salon's July Writing Challenge, which was one of our fun programs at my local DC writing salon, where they created this bingo board, and if you wanted to, partake, you could, do these activities and then, claim a bingo. I didn't actually do that. I thought that might be more difficult for me, to add another, sort of specific type of goal to my obligations. I'm not surprised that, I really ultimately wasn't drawn to this goal. So what can I say? Here she comes.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Something else I'm behind on, actually, is watching Rings of Power Season 2. I kind of put that on the back burner as well, especially because I'm also watching a very elaborate webcast about each episode, too, put out by my old Tolkien professor, who's, anyway, it's a really great webcast. I can link to that down below, and I'm hoping to catch up with all of that in October as well. Seems like overall it was a better received season than last season, so that's pretty cool. So speaking of hopefully turning things around, my final section is the Autumn 2024 goals announcement. And the goals announcement for Autumn 2024 always feels a bit more regimented than any other quarter of the year because NaNoWriMo falls in autumn. So here I have goals that I kind of more or less set, or at least the first two I set for the first 2 months of the quarter, starting with goal number 1, which is NaNoPrepMo, or which is basically October, and that is to finish First Fantasy Draft, to go ahead and push that into here and, dot my I's and cross my T's. And I guess it's a weird time to say you're finishing something in a month that you call prep, because I'm trying to prep for NaNoWriMo. But for my second goal, I am embracing my NaNoRebelness, which is to, finish my second fantasy draft and basically turn NaNoWriMo into more of a revision and editing month than a drafting month, which, technically speaking, NaNoWriMo is supposed to be about writing 50,000 original words. That was the original goal for the month, but I'm part of the rebel group that says I'd rather be working on something significant for myself for all of the year that I'd actually stick with and mean something to me more than just for the month or whatever, or just where I am right now. And this is where I am right now, where I'm really at the tail end right now of finishing the first draft, and then I have a lot of revisions I need to do for draft number 2 / 3, 4, 5, 7 for some of the early chapters. This is another thing I guess about my writing, is that, it's not all that clean cut anyway about drafting, and I'm just doing what I can to, keep the story going and to build things up as, the world building and the plot and character stuff comes together for me. It is a cyclical pattern. And finally, for goal number 3, I'm hoping I'm putting myself in a positive place here, because I've already started, doing the writer's hour in the morning again. So I thought, 3 times a week at the writer's hour this quarter would be a great way to, get involved in, that ritual without being too overwhelming. There are times when it doesn't work for me because I have to dash off to work early or whatever. But to be able to, fit in extra writing in my fantasy draft, or maybe other things as well, just to make things a little easier. But to dedicate that time to writing 3 times a week would be great. And that about covers it for me now. Indeed, I'm down to about 1 bar on my camera, and I'm going to be posting to the London Writers Salon and the Writers Hour, to the DC Writers Salon as well, and to information on Rings of Power in case you're interested in that as well. It'll all be linked down below, and a link to all of my other AuthorTube and quarterly wrap-up videos of the past. But I will be back on this channel much sooner than in 3 months. I am going to hopefully be here imminently to talk about the conclusion of the 2024 BookTube Prize, because Robert recently posted the finals and how things panned out for all of our final 12 books in contention this year. And I was reading nonfiction for the finals, and I'm excited to finally be able to share my thoughts, so stay tuned for that. And I hope you are all having a great start to this final quarter of 2024 with your reading, writing, and other artistic and life goals. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Keep writing, and I'll see you next time.